What's up, tricksters, and welcome to another episode of Raze to Immortal series, a series where I'm teaching you my best Radiant tips, tricks, and strategies for Raze. In the previous episode, we reached Diamond 1, and today I'm going to share with you some very important positioning tips that will allow you to easily carry your games and get some free kills. If you have any questions about Raze, feel free to ask me down in the comments, or you can join my Discord server for professional Valorant coaching. Also, all of these games are streamed live on my Twitch channel, so you can tune into my daily streams and get some useful tips for your ranked grind. Other than that, let's hop into our first game for today, baby! Now, in this episode, we're starting on Bind with some very important tip on Defender side. Whenever enemies give you this smoke on a tower, remember that you can easily abuse the side gaps to get some free kills. Usually, enemies won't expect you playing on these off angles, and you're really safe on this position. Because after a kill or a short fight, you can easily reposition back inside of the smoke or drop down towards the safety. These off angles you should especially abuse when your teammates are fighting enemies from the bomb site, because you can pick some extremely good timings to catch your enemies off guard. Generally speaking, this tower smoke is useless, and you should almost never do it when you're executing a set of bind. It's only good in the post plant, or if you have double controller setup. There are some other much better smoke setups that I've explained in my Omen to Immortal series, and also you can find all of the best smoke setups for every single Valorant map inside of the ranked playbook on my Discord server.
They're flashed. I think they're pushing through now.
Dropped.
Nice.
You can notice the immediate shift in my focus as soon as I've made this small numbers advantage. I'm not searching for some pointless kills anymore, but instead I'm checking the minimap and asking myself, how can I close out this round in the easiest possible way? Also, I'm not doing any rotation because we have no idea where these two remaining enemies are going to end up, and anyways, half of my team already rotated towards B site, so I'm kinda trusting in them to play on a proper refrag potential. Remember, my friends, Bind is a slow rotation map. Your rotations always need to be meaningful, and they need to be based on some kind of an info. What a waste of fun. When my Cypher died, I've used this nade to delay enemies' push into A site, so that my teammates have more time to rotate. I've used the pressure of my nade and Cypher's ultimate to drop down onto bomb site, and I'm keeping my location a secret, because the last time enemies saw me on tower, and they won't expect me playing on the bomb site as they're going for the spike plant, or as they're taking the bomb site control. And now I'm just waiting for perfect opportunity to strike and to close out this round.
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. Spike down A.
Nice.
At the end of this round, I'm just using my utility as a pressure, so that my Skye can take an easy kill onto Fade. But even if my Skye died, I still have my ultimate with full HP, and I would have closed out this round anyways. Pressure making! You don't need to take a fight. You don't need to take the fights. I can see through the walls what they're doing, man. Chill, just win the rounds. You don't need kills in Valorant. In the 11th round of Defender side, we're playing a half-buy with Judge, which is one of the strongest weapons on this map with movement agents such as Raze. In this round, enemies try to push onto B site, but we kinda stopped them and they've used teleport to rotate towards A site. I did a bit faster rotation through CT because I pre-assumed that they're going to rotate once they saw us all on B. Once again, I'm just keeping my location a secret while my teammates are rotating, and I'm waiting to see if any enemies are going to be undisciplined with some over-aggressive peek, which happens a lot of the times in Valorant Ranked.
Planted.
I knew it, bro. After I've punished enemy Omen, I'm simply waiting for my teammates in order to play together, because once again, that is the easiest way to close out this round, playing together on the refrag potential. Remember that whenever you make true numbers advantage in Valorant, your main job is simply to trade the numbers in your favor and to position properly so that you can fight together with your allies. That is why discipline is extremely important if you want to rank up faster, which is the rule that I kinda didn't follow completely in this round because I did take 130 damage for no reason at all. Bench. Still bench.
One short, one short. One here.
One enemy remaining.
Nice. He's still bench.
Last player standing.
Nice, good shot.
Of course, my friends, you still need to practice your raw mechanical skill as well, because at the end of the day, this is still an FPS game. That's why, if this video reaches 2000 likes, I'm going to share with you my brand new aim training routine that helped hundreds of my private coaching students with their mechanical problems in Valorant. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified when the new aim guide comes out, and leave a comment to boost the YouTube algorithm, baby. Now, let's talk about some of the mistakes and plays that I did in the previous round, because after all, this is an educational series. First of all, there was absolutely no reason for me to take that initial fight with enemy Reyna after we made 4v2 numbers advantage. My only job should have been gathering information for my team, and I could have easily done that by simply jump spotting the bench in order to see if enemy Reyna is still stuck in that location. Because of that fight, I've lost too many health points, which made me play a lot more passive. When my Reyna was peeking with flash, I should have taken that fight as well, and maybe refrag her, instead of hiding. But then I compensated for all of these mistakes with proper movement, aim, and utility usage. I've used Satchel to reposition towards left side, so that enemy Reyna and Fade cannot play on a crossfire setup. Then I jump spotted A short to reveal enemy Fade's location, and I went for a wide swing because she has the operator. Usually in medium elo, players completely hug angles with their crosshair placement, and when you go for a bit wider swing, chances are a bit higher that they're going to miss the first shot with operator. And then I spaced out a bit. I thought that Reyna is going to reposition behind these boxes with her dismiss ability, but she was actually healing herself. That's why I did this nade instead of nading the bench, which would have granted us 10 times higher chances of closing out this round. But in the end, we still played a proper refrag game with Cypheroni. Remember, my friends, if you are serious about your improvement at Valorant, you need to play every round with 200% focus and follow all of these tips and rules to the core. Also, you need to spend a lot of time practicing your skill sets, both inside and outside of the game, with some proper training. Now we're moving on attacker side of Bind. Whenever you're taking B-Long against enemies that have pop flash agents in their team composition, take this part of the map with full caution. Always expect enemies to go for some kind of a pop flash peek, because it's very easy to take the kills in this long range corridor against enemies that are just sprinting forward. Ask your initiators to support you with their utility, or you can just play some anti-flash bait setup and support your teammates in that way as well. But if your teammates are passive and you need to move forward first, feel free to use this boombot or nade in order to pressure enemies back, so that your whole team stays alive while we're taking the garden control.
The hunt begins.
They're concussed.
Blinded.
Sky's out.
Reyna's Odin, Odin hooker. You should do.
We just TP,
Yeah, go TP, go TP.
Blinded.
In this round, I decided to take a bit of a gamble and trust my teammates, which is usually a bad idea in ranked environment, as you're going to see. I didn't teleport with my team because this whole match enemies had 1 or 2 players that were always lurking behind us, so I decided to lurk through A short and see if I can catch some of these enemies off guard. But 99% of times in these scenarios, it's simply better to rotate and play together with your teammates on a proper refrag potential. And if enemies like to lurk, just be aware of that information and timings. Generally speaking, lurking and flanking in Valorant ranked solo queue is almost never worth it. And if numbers are equal or you have numbers advantage, play with your team and support them. We can deal with lurks once we end up on the bomb site and plant the spike. It's better than being left in a 1v3 clutch scenario because your teammates are undisciplined. But thankfully, you can also abuse enemies' lack of discipline and improper positioning in order to clutch these scenarios.
30 seconds left.
Once I killed this Omen Goriramon, I knew that Fade is in the lamps and Reyna is backside. That is why I'm using this nade to deny Reyna's refrag potential while I'm dealing with Fade.
Nice, okay, last 2, winnable.
My
got
ult's
this.
ready. One enemy remaining.
Once I killed Fade, I'm using this satchel to pressure enemy Reyna and to make her think that I may be moving through lamps. But also, this satchel is denying her peek from lamps as I'm moving towards Spike. And then, because I cleared the whole backside, it was obvious that she is indeed inside of the lamps, which is why I went for a fake Spike plant and waited to see if she is going to make some kind of a move.
Lamps lucky.
Nice. So better.
Remember, my friends, never be pressured because of the timer or anything else in the game. 30, 20, 10, 5 seconds is plenty enough of time to deal with enemies and plant the spike. Use your brain, isolate enemies with your good positioning, abuse proper utility, and you'll win these clutches easily. Also remember, you're playing against undisciplined players as well. If you take your time, someone is going to push you or peek you, such as this Gorilla Omensky. TLDR, enemies lost this round only because once again they didn't play a proper refrag game. They had bad positioning and they went one by one. Now, when you have Raze ultimate on attacker's side, always tell your teammates to execute some bombsite together as 5. And the first opportunity that you see to kill an enemy with your ultimate, take it.
One hookah. Reyna dead. Good job.
Nice.
One TP. One CT. One hookah.
One enemy remaining.
Also, remember to never play the operator in the post plant when you have full HP and numbers advantage. It is much better to play with an automatic weapon, because you don't want to rely on one shot in order to trade your teammates, or in order to win the whole round. I really have no idea why I picked this up from Chamber, which is gonna cost me a lot. In this 1v1, I decided to play this one and done angle because last time when enemy Fate saw me, she saw me going back into the elbow, so I was confident that she won't expect me on this position.
No way.
And indeed, she didn't expect me, but I think I should have warmed up before playing my first game today. Which is a great tip for you. Always do your warm-ups if you don't want to whiff. That would be $350. Thank you. Now, in the last round of the match, we're pushing B site again. I noticed that enemies are playing operator in B long, so I'm trying to catch that player before he rotates back into the bomb site, and also to pressure enemies backwards so that my teammates don't die from operator. When you have Raze ultimate, you really want to go in a bit more of a gorilla mode.
He's headshot.
As soon as I killed enemy Fade, I turned my focus onto Reyna, because while I was taking his space, you can notice how many times I'm actually checking minimap in order to figure out what should be my next move. I saw that only Reyna is in the window, one of my teammates died, and as soon as I killed Fade, I knew that my next step needs to be pinching that Reyna and dealing with her before her teammates rotate or before she kills my whole team in the window. And after that kill, I simply threw this nade in CT to deny enemies rotation a bit and to prevent them from peeking my team, since we had 0 smokes for this execute. Basically, in Valorant, you always need to be 2 steps ahead and kind of predict what's going to happen before that specific situation even happens. That's why awareness is extremely important, as well as information gathering, and 50% of time, your eyes need to be on the minimap. But Charlatan, how did you know that no one else is on the bomb site? Throughout this whole match, only Fade, Reyna and Skye were defending B site, and we had the info that Skye is on A site, so it was a good gamble that no one else is playing with these 2 enemies. Remember, my friends, that Valorant players are extremely repetitive, and that is one of the main general problems that you can use to counter enemies and make good game decisions. For the second game, we're moving on to Ascent, and we're starting with one of the best off angles that you can play to delete enemies with close-range weapons such as Bucky. All you need to do is move far left behind this cover so that enemies don't see you and pick the right moment of time to strike. But you can also use this off angle to dodge enemies' flashes and go for the surprise sneak attack. A lot of players make a mistake where they're only holding this angle as a common angle, while it's much better if you try to surprise enemies like this and keep your location a secret.
One enemy remaining. Thirsty.
Classic better than a Bucky, bro. Now, this is the best angle to hold on A short if you want to kill enemies that are pushing from tiles.
Cover going out.
Come to Papa! I generally avoid playing this common angle on A short because even my grandma Josephine is pre-firing this position in 2024. Later. Now in this round, enemies decided to end up on B site and we are playing retake since our Reyna decided to give them a free kill. Please, for the love of God, when you make numbers advantage, respect it. In full buy rounds, you don't need to commit yourself anymore to some 50-50 gunfights. Play a bit safer, play some tight angles, off angles, positions where you don't need to commit fighting enemies. And once again, look at Valorant as a game of chess, rather than a shooting game. Now, since I don't know what's happening behind this smoke, I decided to throw this nade in order to potentially deny enemies from closing the market doors, and maybe pressure them a bit while my Sova is using his ultimate. Then, since there is no sound from enemies and my teammates are just playing passive in the smoke, I'm just waiting for a perfect moment of time to strike, because I already thought that enemies took the bomb site control. But they were apparently too scared to push into site, probably because of my Sova's ultimate, and they got stuck in the B main.
Got him.
Scanning ahead.
I got.
Satchel out. One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
I was mega confused and I had no idea what enemies were doing, but you can notice in this round how I'm using my satchels to take better and different angles to engage enemies. As soon as I take a fight from one angle, I'm immediately repositioning onto different angle. And when enemy Astra smoked us off, I had to use this satchel towards stairs so that I can support my Omen that is flanking them and to take better angle from which I can engage enemies more efficiently. Now, if you want to learn how to hold every angle and which are the best positions on every map in Valorant, I highly recommend you to check the Raze ranked playbook that you can get on my Discord server. This match was quite unwinnable, and at the end of the day, Valorant is still a team play game. Remember that 40% of games are always automatic loss, while 60% of games you lose because you could have done something better. Maybe I could have carried a few rounds purely based on my raw mechanical skill, but that is not the point of this series. So let's stop with the copium and let's move from this narrow loss onto Breeze. Yes, I know, this map is currently out of rotation, but some of these tips might be very valuable for you when it comes back. In the first round on defender side, we always start on B site, because this is our default bomb site, and if you're playing Raze on Breeze, you can feel free to start with only a Sheriff, because on this map her utility is not that valuable. Except her nade, of course. In this round, enemies pushed A, so I did fast rotation through spawn in order to support my team. Remember that in the first round, on every single map, you should always do fast rotations on the first contact between yours and enemy team, because the most common attack strategy in the first round is a 5-man push somewhere. And whenever you're taking A site, you should always open up these tube doors in order to make additional pressure onto enemies, especially if your whole team is moving through spawn and mid. Here I'm simply using my nade to apply additional pressure onto enemies, to potentially split them up and to give my Neon higher chances of surviving the initial duel at the backside.
Spike planted.
How the fuck am I left here?
One enemy remaining.
Info.
Could be line out.
I'm 15 now, brother.
Good for you.
Last player standing.
Man.
Tap.
It's up.
Out of charges.
Nice.
Hell, bro, I was just giving her a chance, man. This is one of the rare maps on which I would actually recommend you to maybe force Marshall in eco rounds on both attack and defense. Because it's an extremely long-range map, and if you hit some headshots or body shots, you might end up getting a few kills for your team. In this round, I'm simply holding A main peak from spawn, because one of the most common plays that players like to do on this map is taking an initial duel in this specific area, which is absolutely stupid to do when enemies on attack are eco, but some Valorant players never learn. And by the way, this is the best angle from which you can hold this peak, because it allows you to quickly dodge enemies' pop flashes with a few footsteps left and right.
Marshall. Micro adjustments.
Micro adjustments! After that kill on Phoenix, we decided to group up towards A site and take some more long-range duels. Also, this is one of the best off angles from which you can try to get a few kills on A site when your execute is delayed or when you're playing post plant, because you can see enemies over any smoke setup. After our Neon died, we got an info from our Sky that all of the enemies are on the A site, thus we decided to rotate B and get ready for the post plant. Whenever you are in the numbers or economy disadvantage during post plants, you need to go for a bit more aggressive plays and try to somehow surprise your enemies. Playing these type of post plants in a default way will most of the time result in a loss.
Get out of here.
Micros!
One enemy remaining.
Backside.
Is stacked.
Last player standing.
Didn't touch him. My bad. No time.
Nice.
Micro adjustments! In the next round, our teammates fell apart left and right, so I simply decided to play with my spike carrier and support him in the A main area, because if he also dies, this round will be really hard to win. And now you will actually see how much I'm trying to use Raze utility in order to create gunfights that are working in my favor.
Close to us, close to us.
Spike carrier down. Spike down. Attacker spawn. Satchel out. Satchel out. One day have the spike.
Chamber at an off.
Here comes the party. One enemy remaining. For me.
This guy upper.
Basically with Raze, every single round in which you die with all of your utility available, it is the round where you could have done something better. There are no excuses.
Spike planted. Grenade.
In this round, a bit better idea would have been if I simply play with my Neon on a raw refrag potential. But since enemy chamber saw me crossing towards A main, there is no way that he is going to expect me from behind, and that is why I decided to do this flank. But he was just waving with his white flag as a real Frenchman trying to save his operator for the next round. Better luck next time, Chamberoni.
Done.
By the way, these are rare moments of time where you actually want to hunt for the kills, when the enemies are saving their weapons for the next round and you already have the strong economy for the next few rounds in a row. Now, after 2 wins and 1 lost game, we're still sitting in Diamond 1, but in the next video I'm going to showcase you how to speedrun these ranks up to Ascendant with some secret tips, tricks and strategies that I didn't share with you before. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you, my dear tricksters, in the next episode.